people have a pretty good sense of who's battling on behalf of thousands of lobbyists that are trying to protect drug profits and insurance profits, and who's fighting on behalf of middle-class Americans, hoping once and for all to have access to affordable insurance and removing insurance company restrictions like discriminating against people that are sick.
It is the big debate, and the bargaining is beginning already. We're talking about health care, and it is a huge piece of legislation on the president's plate when he comes back. Got to reconcile the two bills between the House and the Senate. And David Greenbaum, freelance journalist, spends a lot of time on the Hill. It's been crazy up there. It's only going to get crazier, isn't it?
It is. It is. I think that you use the word bargaining. I wouldn't agree with that. I think what's going to happen is the Senate and the House are going to come together, and they're going to say,
we got to take the Senate.
Yeah, they said, we're going to take the Senate bill. You know, there are three issues that are big. Employer mandate, it's in the House bill, not in the Senate bill. It's out. Public option, it's in the House bill, not in the Senate bill. That's going to be out. And the abortion issue, which is going to be very big, they're going to have to probably put stronger restrictions in to placate the blue dogs, who obviously put in the Stupak amendment, which is a little stronger than the version we have in the Senate bill. So I think that's probably going to be the biggest change. But, you know, it's going to be forced on the House, and they're going to have to agree to it.
Is there anything that could be, that the House conferees can get through, that you could get the votes of some of these people who are on the fence, like the senator from Nebraska at the very end?
Well, again, I think that goes to that broader point. I think they're going to have to, you know, we see a lot of liberal members like Anthony Weiner and others who have said, well, we want a public option. We want it. We want it. We want more loose language to get rid of the Stupak amendment. But the fact is, in the end, the Senate votes aren't there to support that. You know, they're just not there. And you know what? They're probably not there in the House either. The bill passed 220 to 215 in the House with the Stupak amendment. So if you were to take something like that out there, you know, you would lose those votes. They will leave. You know, they're going to have to take half a loaf or a third of a loaf in order to get what they want. And that includes placating Ben Nelson. That includes voters like Blanche Lincoln, who has a hard re-election next year, or even Joe Lieberman, who's been a little bit difficult, some liberals would say.
So do House members, are they realizing this is what's going to happen when they come back, that they basically are going to have to take it or leave it?
You know, there's a lot of foot stamping in Congress. People all want their way. You know, they all think that their way is the right way. But in the end, I think that members like was it Raul Grijalva, I want to pronounce that right, and Anthony Weiner and Diane DeGette from Denver, they're upset. You know, they'd like something a little more expansive. They'd love a public option, but they'll accept it. Nancy Pelosi will come to them, and she'll say, this is what you're taking, you're going to vote for it. And they're not going to say no to the Speaker. You can take that to the bank. And
Rahm Emanuel and the President will be pushing for a quick decision out of the conference because they want to get onto the economy, right?
Absolutely. I think the word now is they want the bill before the State of the Union address, which is either going to be at the end of January or the first week of February. That's ideal for them. They want it out there. We've known from the beginning, guys, that in the end, this was never an issue of whether or not a bill was going to pass. I've always been convinced it would be, because there's nothing worse than doing nothing. And the White House knows this. So at this point, they're going to take what they can get. They want this out of there so they can focus on job creation and other initiatives. They've talked about immigration reform, which is another thing off the side, but they want to move on.
Is it surprising to you that abortion became such a big part of this?
No, not at all. This is always the issue below the surface in Congress. And, you know, it's really funny you mention that, because there's a lot of debate in Congress, particularly among Democrats, about how this issue works. You know, they're upset that the Stupak amendment got support and was put in at the end over the objections of more liberal members, over even the Speaker, who probably wouldn't have liked it because she's from San Francisco, very liberal. But the fact is, it's always beneath the surface. And, you know, in the end, the votes, there's a majority of members of the House of Representatives that are pro-life. Whether or not you agree with that, it's there. And if more liberal members don't like that, the fact of the matter is they will have to elect pro-choice members to districts that have pro-life members. That's the bottom line.
The President has said, he told Jim Lehrer the other night, he's going to be up to his elbows in these negotiations. Presidents sometimes don't do that when bills go to conference. Sometimes they just stand back. Obama has stood back a lot already, and he's been criticized for it. What do you think he'll actually do, and what should he do?
You know, it's a great question. I think that one of the big mistakes of this from the beginning was that he looked at what happened to Bill Clinton back in 1994, when Bill Clinton basically took a bill and dumped it on the desk of the Senate and the House and said, this is the bill. And he said, I'm going to stand back completely and not do anything. I think that was a mistake. What he should have done from the start was, here, 5 points. I want these 5 things in there. You guys work from there. So that was his first mistake. Now, in terms of what he's going to do with the conference report, or with the conference coming together with the House and Senate, I'll be honest with you. I think that's a lot of rhetoric. I think he's going to stand back, and I think they all know what needs to be done. They know take the Senate bill basically in hold, maybe make a couple tweaks here, and then maybe put the antitrust exemption and take it out, which is in the House bill, not in the Senate bill. But for the most part, they know what needs to be done, and they're going to do it. I don't think the White House needs anything.
Down to some dotting and crossing the T's. Mark Greenbaum, thanks very much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Great to be with you, Mark. I'm John Cochran.
And I'm David Curley. Thanks for joining us on Top Line.